up, Dallas? It's your
Mhm.
girl, Rachel. We are back with another guest for season 7. I have author Emily Remington. How are you, ma'am?
Hi. Hello. It's so good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on my podcast today. So, we're going to be talking
Yay.
about several things, but we're going to be talking about your background, why you like to write books, how you got started, and then also talking about the two different books that you have. So,
Definitely.
yeah, so for all of our viewers out there, can you please tell them where to find you on social media?
Yes, I have an Instagram. It's Emily Remington 187. And that's my Instagram handle. And then my Facebook has the link as well. But for the most part, you can just look on Amazon and type in Emily Remington. I have both of my books there for sale. And just depending on what you're really looking for, the first one's kind of like a self help sort of autobiography type book. And then the second one is a complete opposite, total turn. And it's a thriller suspense kind of book. So you have options for sure.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first and foremost, we got to talk about your self-help book.
Okay.
So, you were telling me when you sent me the email that you felt like this book could help a lot of people out there. So, tell me about that first book.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually got the idea to kind of start not necessarily writing a book per se, but more of like journaling for personal reasons and just kind of like getting some of my stuff from my head onto paper. And I started about a year or two ago, and the more I wrote down, the more I just couldn't stop myself, and it was very cathartic, and I felt really good every single time I would get into it. And then I showed my then fiance, now husband, a couple of the things that I had written down. He's like, you know what, you should like put this all together into one thing and just do it for you, not necessarily to make it a book, but do it for something that made me feel good. And so I did. And as soon as I started typing, I knew, okay, this is going to be really, really good. And I just kind of felt just, I don't know, moved by sharing such personal experiences. And I went through some pretty rough things during my childhood, but there are a lot of people out there that go through very similar experiences, and some people have the ability to speak about it, and then others, aren't that forward or outgoing, and that's okay. And my reasoning for being so honest about the things that I went through is to help anybody that picks up the book, a grown person to a teenager or anything, can hopefully pick up that book and read anything in any of the chapters and just feel like, oh my goodness, if she went through something like that, that's something that I went through, and if she can get through it, then so can I, kind of thing. So I really, really wanted to tap into like the darkest parts of my mind that I really didn't want to open up any old wounds or anything, but I did it on purpose for anyone else out there that would need any sort of guidance or help, I guess. So I really did it
Mm.
for maybe the younger version of myself, wishing that I had someone there to kind of talk me through it. But, not everybody has someone to talk to. And I literally, in the very last few pages, I put my own personal information. I'm like, if you don't have
Mhm.
anyone to speak to me. Like, you are loved and you are needed and you're wanted. And there's no reason that you can't get through whatever it is you're going through. So that was for
Yeah.
that specific book.
Wow. Like I just want to talk about like the healing journey in itself for anybody who is going on their healing journey from trauma and everything. Whenever you have a self-help book that helps you actually speak through it, but actually being honest with yourself, like
Right.
that's the hardest part for someone, especially healing. So this self-help book that you have, Emily, is it for trauma healing or what type of self-help?
Well, it's not really anything specific. I mean, I do touch on a lot of verbal abuse from another adult in my past. So anyone that's had any verbal or kind of just violence around their childhood. So it's really that sort of environment. And then I eventually kind of grew into having severe depression and anxiety when I was a teenager because I had constant fear that I was either, going to upset that person again, and I was going to have some other type of trauma pop back up into my head. And so I struggled with that a lot in my early teenage years, and counseling and just a lot of things that I didn't want to hear, and, pushing through it. And then eventually I came to a point where I could talk myself through certain things, or I could kind of step back and look at a situation and think, wow, maybe then when it was happening to me, it felt like the most overwhelming and most horrible experience of my life. But as I got older, I almost am grateful that certain things happened to me, because it made me see the world in a different light. It made me grow a different way. I feel like I matured at least, 10 times faster than the kids that I knew around me and stuff like that. It's crazy, man. Life is just a crazy, crazy thing. And to take something so negative and it ended up putting a positive spin on my life. And I took a really bad situation and I feel like I'm using it in the best way possible, because I want to, like, literally stick, if I could metaphorically stick my hand out and help somebody up off the ground and grab them by the arm and be like, hey, come on, let's keep going. You've got this. Keep your head up. Like, I'm right here with you. You might not know me from a can of paint, but I'm here to help you, and, just be there for somebody.
No, I love that. It's almost like your journey is similar to my journey too.
Really? Yeah.
I, yeah, I didn't have like abusive parents. I just had a dismissive parent and a very anxious mother, who was basically doing all the parenting for us kids. So whenever my childhood was not more like a fear of getting hurt or something like that. It was more like fear of not being seen.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
had to go through the healing journey. Actually going through it right now, like my healing journey. And like when you're telling me about your self-help book, like it makes me want to go out and go get this book. So where can people find this book, Emily?
Amazon. Go straight to Amazon. Just type in Emily Remington at the top. So the first one's called The Promise. And the reasoning for that title is, as soon as I had gotten the idea to actually write this down, almost within the first couple of sentences, I already knew how I wanted to end the book. And I knew that I wanted it to be centered around, I'm not going to give it away too much, but I knew I wanted to center it around one very major event in my life. And I am so, so glad that I waited until that event did happen, because I was able to write it from experiencing, what I experienced, instead of just coming up with it off the top of my head. I actually, every single thing that you read in that book is like from firsthand experience. And I think that's what makes it so raw and relatable. It's not, you know, fiction where, I mean, it's okay to have books like that, but it's not fiction where I just kind of came up with an idea and wrote it down. It's all real things that happened to me. And I'm not happy about some of the things, but I am very proud of who it made me. And I wouldn't change any of it, to be honest.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you. Like there's a lot of stuff that I had experienced in my life as well that I wouldn't change. Like because of the person that I became
Sure.
during all that journey. I just wouldn't change it at all because through all the trauma and stuff that I went through all of the things that I had experienced, it taught me to be a stronger person, to understand that I can endure. If I got through that, if I got through all the trauma that I've been through, and I'm still going and I'm still existing, and my story is going to help somebody, like
Absolutely.
I wouldn't change that now. Like I just wouldn't like alter that. But I do understand that what I had to go through, somebody else doesn't have to go through it. So maybe my story is supposed to help them
Sure.
heal faster than how it was for me.
Mm-hmm. It's so
So,
validating too. I had a coworker of mine. I gave her one of the very first copies, and she was so sweet to read it and give me her feedback like as soon as possible. And she came up to me like the very next day. She read it all in one night, read the entire thing in one night, and she came up to me the very next day and she said, you literally made me feel like I wasn't crazy. Like you made me feel like the things that I've been through, or the way that I'm feeling with my anxiety and my, depression or overwhelming, that you literally made me feel like I wasn't the only person in the world that experiences this. And it was such a full circle moment, and so humbling to hear someone say that, because that was exactly my goal with that. Just for someone to have just a minuscule second of peace or just the tiniest bit of relief knowing that they're not alone in any fight or any journey. And there is absolutely always, always, always a way out and a way to help yourself for sure.
Mm. That's very powerful to say that. There's always a way out. I think a lot of people
Always.
feel really hopeless, but there is always a way out for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, Emily, I would like to talk to you about your author journey. So, because I mean, not just everybody can just go out and write a book. So, how was that process for you? How was that process of just doing the penmanship and just writing all these?
Well, a lot of very, very late nights with the lamp on and dry eyes and eye drops and glasses and Advil. A lot of thinking, a lot of contemplating if this was worth putting on paper. Like, am I exposing, it's a lot of second guessing myself. Am I exposing really private things in my life that, do I really want people to know this about me? Am I going to be embarrassed that people know certain things about my life? Or, should I do this? Should I not? And I can't tell you how many times I would write in my journal or write on a piece of paper, and I'd write down a couple sentences that I'd want for a chapter, and I'd, tear it up and throw it out. And then like the next day I'd go digging through the trash trying to find the same thing because I ended up liking it. So an interesting decision for me to actually, you know, type it out and put it together. But once, like I said, once I started going, I realized how I wanted it to end. And when I knew the ending, I kind of Tarantino'd it. Like once I knew the ending, I was ready to write the rest of it, And I just knew that the ending meant so much to me that it was worth going through all the rough spots to get to the ending and bringing up all those wounds and things like that. It was so worth it. I've never been more proud of anything ever. I love it.
I'm proud of you because it takes a lot to
Thank
put
you.
yourself inside of a book. It really does. Like, to tell your story, to inspire others to heal from your journey, that other people can learn from you as well. Like,
Hmm.
that takes a lot of guts. It really does because you're literally taking all the raw parts of you and putting
Hmm.
it down and making yourself so vulnerable so people can see that if she did it, I can do it. And like I
Right.
said, I'm proud of you, girl. That takes a lot. It
High
really does.
five, girl, high five there.
Yes,
Perfect.
ma'am, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, but the second book you have though is the suspense
Yes.
thriller book. So that is
Yes.
quite a twist. I gotta know about that one. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Which is even crazier because after that first one, it was almost like, because it's so heavy and it's a bunch of, real serious stuff. It was kind of nice when I was done with it. I just kind of, shook it off and just kind of, I didn't even really tell much people about it, like via Amazon or trying to sell it or anything. Like I said, it was more for me. I just wanted to make sure that I felt good getting it out there. But literally just one random day at work, I was just sitting there thinking, because I don't know about you or anyone else listening, but I am a huge true crime buff and I watch all the documentaries, I listen to all the podcasts. I'm like, I feel like I can figure it out before anybody else can. Like, as soon as I'm listening to a story, I'm the first one to figure out what happened or who was the killer or what have you. But yeah, I got a real wild hair one day and I just decided to see if I could do it. And so I just wrote down on a piece of paper a couple names that I would like for characters. And then I thought, okay, well, what would this person be like? Where would they find themselves? And then I put kind of both types of writing styles together. And so the main character the new book is called Submerged. And the main character in Submerged, her name is Sloane. And I kind of made Sloane like a braver, more, I don't know, real raspy version of myself, I guess, if you will. So she's like the
Mhm.
better version of me, I feel like. And she has had some crazy things go on in her past, very similar to me as well. But she just relocated to Dallas, and she is really close with her brother. And and she kind of experiences something that triggers a lot of her past memories and brings her into some sort of a like a panic attack or anxiety attack, which puts her in this mental facility in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. It's spooky. It's ran by a real crazy doctor, and the longer she's there, she starts to realize that certain things might be a little bit more familiar than she thinks, like maybe she's seen them a time or two before. So yeah, that is another one of my very, very prized possessions. I just once I got going, it was just easy from there. It was so much fun, such a joy to write. I love every bit of that book.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Nothing says amazing more than a suspense thriller, especially a book. So is this one is it just a physical book or is it actually available audiobook?
I have so many people ask me that. So many people ask me that. I would love to do audiobook. I'm not against it at all. I just, one of the main things that everybody wants me to do it, me to do the actual voicing of it. And I just don't see myself as, Sloane's voice. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to find the right person to be my main character in the book to narrate it. But yeah, that's definitely some a route that I would like to take for sure in the future. It's not an easy thing too. You have to have the right equipment and the right space and stuff like that. But I would love that. That'd be really, really cool.
Man, oh my gosh. I just feel like whenever you invest yourself into a book, like you're literally putting a imaginary version of yourself there. But I think a lot of authors do it because it entertains them more than it does the
Yeah,
reader.
clearly you can tell how passionate I am about it. It made me so happy. I just wanted to tell everyone about it. I was so excited. I even had a pretty awesome book launch last month, and I had a lot of my close friends and family and coworkers and things like that. I sold out of my books in about 20 minutes. I sold out
Wow.
completely. Everyone was really, really interested in it, and even strangers at the book launch that were just kind of in the area that saw the backdrop and everything. Excuse me, what are you doing, or can I know more about this? And I would tell them just a couple things, and they would just put cash on the table and just be one of the first ones to buy it. It was such a great turnout. Again, a very humbling experience. I'm just grateful for every second of it.
Wow. That's quite a story. And I'm so glad to have you on my show talking
Yes.
about it. So, oh my goodness. I'm glad we met. I'm just glad we met,
Me,
Emily.
yes, me too. It feels good to talk about things that you're proud of, you know?
Mhm. It really does. So on my show, on my podcast, I have a segment where my guest, I ask them to give advice to the youth. Like, so for instance, there's a
Oh,
young writer out there that wants to do something you're doing. What would you tell them?
I would say 1,000% without a doubt, do what you in your heart think is whatever you think is right. Like, don't allow someone else's opinion. Oh, no one's going to like that book because it's too heavy, it's too dark, it's too depressing, or it's not going to be anything that don't listen to that. If it makes you feel good, write about it. If you want to write about buying a couch, if you want to write about a dog you saw on the street, write about it. If it makes you feel good, if it lets out any type of, endorphins or good feelings in your body, do whatever makes you happy. Don't let anyone stop you at all. You do anything that
Mm.
makes you happy. And don't stop either. Wait until you're finished and then you can say, "Oh my goodness, I did it." So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, not to mention that you have that, generational income for years to come. So that's the part that a lot of people don't really talk about. So when you start writing a book and you start creating something that is yours, you can pass it down to your kids. You can, they'll be
Sure.
like, my my mom's an author. Or, later on and many years from now, I'll be like, my grandmother's an author. This is her book.
Yeah.
This actually came from her. Like it's something that a lot of people take for granted. But from
Oh,
all the
absolutely.
authors that I yes, from all the authors that I've talked to before, they said there's nothing more exciting than actually creating a book that you can make money off of, but also you can live through it.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
The experience alone is I've said it a bunch of times and I don't mean to repeat myself, but quite honestly, it's just so humbling because you took something that started, itty bitty in the back of your mind and it just grew into this amazing story that is not only reaching people, but it is actually helping people. And then if someone doesn't even know about the self help book and they just get the thriller book, they'll look me up and see, oh, she's got another book, and then read it and, find a new outlet for themselves. So it's really it's an interesting whirlwind to be on for sure, but I'm enjoying every step of the way. It's awesome.
I love that. And I must
Mhm.
ask you, so being during this whole creative writing process, you've had some highs and you had some lows. So
Oh
what
yeah.
has been some of the most memorable highs or the most memorable lows?
Well, highs for sure was the launch. I ordered, like I said, I ordered probably 30 to 35 books for myself that day. And I'm a young writer. I don't know what I'm doing, very, inexperienced. And like I said, I sold out within minutes. I mean, minutes. And the whole thing was supposed to last 2 hours. And within a few minutes, I was already done. People had to come up and scan the QR code. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't sign it for you. People were wanting to take pictures with me. And so that was really cool. Um, I don't know if I have any serious lows. I mean, it definitely got discouraging when I would either come home from work and either be too tired to write or just kind of have a couple of days where I wouldn't really be too into it and just, push it to the side. But that would just make it all the more fun whenever I did get into it and pick it back up. But not too many lows, which I think made me enjoy the experience even more, is because it made me feel good and it was just wonderful. Wonderful from start to finish. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I love that for you. I love that whole process that you didn't really experience any lows and stuff. I just like I admire the whole process of writing a book. Like honestly. Like I've written a book. I have one that's not out
Yeah.
yet. But, like actually putting your thoughts onto paper and,
Hmm.
investing your time, your creativity. Like actually mine is called Reese's Walk. That I haven't really put it out there. I think only like 6 people have read it so far, but I'm missing a
Nice.
chapter that I'm gonna add in there. And, for me, it was one of those things where I was healing through the process of writing the story.
Absolutely.
It's not fictional, but it has a part that correlates with what I went through
Hmm.
um before I found my husband. So it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, I want to make this like a Christian romance
Okay.
story,
Okay.
and to help inspire young moms out there to that they can find someone who will really love them
Yeah.
even though they're single moms. um
Sure.
yeah, so that was my inspiration behind it because I for the longest time didn't think that I could find a good person at all. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But clearly it worked out for you, and you being able to, speak your mind and put that on paper, it really it just does wonders for your mentality. It does amazing things to
Mhm.
your emotions, and it's almost like venting as if a person was sitting there right in front of you. I mean, I know it sounds very cliche, but there's a reason why if you ever go to therapy, they say, have you written it down or do you have a journal or something like that? I mean, as
Mhm.
annoying as that is, I know it's very cliche, but quite honestly, it really does. It does help. I mean, there's a reason those people make a lot of money, right? they
Mhm.
they definitely know what they're doing. That's for sure. But yeah, that's amazing. That's wonderful. Congrats on that as well.
Thank you. I
Mm,
did I did find some healing in the process though, because
yeah.
I was like, I was like, my creativity was coming out. I was speaking a part of me without speaking a part of me. And then, it's like I relived moments where my kids were actually, it's so funny. I'll send you a preview of it, Emily,
Please, yes.
so you can read it. And it is basically, I was reliving the memories of when my kids first met my husband before he was my
Mm.
husband. They were seriously trying to run him off. Um, they they really were. So the book actually kind of mimics their behavior of what they actually did before we got married.
See, and then
And
you get some humor in there too, and that just makes it even better.
there's a lot of humor in there.
I love it.
My girls were the worst when it came to being in the house. They did not want to share me with him at all.
They're protective of you, as they should be, which is great, but clearly it all worked out.
Yes, ma'am. And then one more time for our viewers, where can they go get your books if they want to get them right now?
You can purchase the book directly on Amazon. It's just Emily Remington. You can type that in. The Promise is the name of the first book, and then the second book is called Submerged. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's Emily Remington 187, and the link is in my bio on that as well. So you can also see the second book, Submerged, is dedicated to my husband. He was so kind and so supportive throughout the whole process that I wrote a whole dedication to him on the first page. So you can actually see what he looks like if you go to my Instagram, what the whole book was about. So that's good too. But yeah, let me know.
Absolutely. So for everybody out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us for the podcast. This episode is now concluding, and
Yay.
we will be back with another one very soon. Bye.
Bye.